Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. I hope you're doing really, really well. I have an esteemed and wonderful friend of mine, Cy Wind. It's a great pleasure to have you with us. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
It's I'm delighted. And so today we would like to talk about the power of sound in all its glory. And of course, your speciality, your unique way of bringing light into existence. So, Sai, I'll give you the floor. Please, if you would like to just introduce yourself, how do you see this whole spiritual business? What's your understanding? What it is that you're here to do, and so on.
Sure. Well, I see everything and feel everything through frequency and through the multidimensionality that we are. So, when I'm existing even or when I'm working with someone, it's through sound, it's through the layers of sound, frequency, light code, which I perceive as technology, light code technology that can transform energy. And that comes in a multitude of ways. It comes through my voice, through my vessel, as precisely tuned in certain ways, depending on what the function is feeling required moment to moment. It also comes through writing code, drawing very intricate geometries, layers of geometries, new structures of light codes, and geometries we're actually receiving now, that the Earth and vastly beyond hasn't really, I could say, been able to, but hasn't been in the state of purity and conscious awareness until these junctures now to receive that. So, um, I work in the varying ways through, the sound, the layers, the art, the geometries, and my mission is a multitude of aspects, working with the earth, working with, different interstellar, you might say gateways, portals, clearing, activation, opening, expansion through the actual physical realms, but also through people in their bodies, the cellular systems, the DNA, the structures, dissolving, reconfiguring, implementing, upgrading to be who they actually are as cosmic beings of light, to actually hold those frequencies of what they are encoded and designed to do in their missions so they can complete their missions. So um, that's certain aspects of it anyways right now.
Beautiful. And you've recently published a book, and I just received my copy through the
Oh,
post. And
awesome.
let's introduce this. Return of Purity and Divine Order. Everybody who is seeing this, hey, do yourself a favor and get a copy. I haven't gone through the entire book yet, but you see what Siren was speaking about. This is an example of her magnificent creation. So this is taking visual form. So would it be correct to consider this light language?
That's I guess a terminology that people use. There's uh, different ways to perceive it, the universal language, soul language, and it's also it's in its form, if you will, in its structure, it's encoded and designed to do certain functions. So, like one line of code, for example, can do certain things. And when paired with, say, the voice, the tone of the voice, somebody seeing, like for example, that artwork, it can activate or evoke remembrances from other lives, other lifetimes, or light soul universal languages that they have dormancies as well. Yeah, for example, like that would be one, and each one is specifically coded to function certain ways to do certain things. So, um, like each chapter has an intention or an energy to it, and that connotates what the chapter will be about or what the codes will be designed to do. But even beyond that, there could be multitudes of other potentialities of how somebody may experience that, right?
Beautiful. I think your description of calling it soul language, that's really, really appropriate. So it really is the expression of the infinite soul. And by definition, it should be accessible to every human being. However, probably you have also come across those who would ask you, but how do I read it? How do I get it? And so, really, what I'm now moving towards is what would be your advice to somebody who's at the early stages of their journey? They're awakened. They know there's more to just this physical body. How would they pursue understanding soul language like what you create? But there are many forms of it. So, where would they begin, or what would be something useful that you would recommend?
Sure. Well, for the very beginning point, and I'd parallel it to something simple to understand would be art, right? Because if you perceive art, how you'll experience it usually evokes a sensation, right? It evokes an emotion or a sensation or visualization. Something will be integrating, so it's some type of an integration. So I invite people when they're looking at any code, or say if they're wanting to tune into or activate their own languages, to really open up to receive that which is already within them, which is their own code. So feel the sensation. Usually there's a sound associated with sensation, or something may, through breath work, meditation, has a geometry. You can tune into your own geometry, which is your geometrical body, that breath, and really in stillness, in non-distraction, you can tune into, well, what is my unique blueprint? What does that feel like? And as you're exploring that, perhaps, feel into the sensation, well, what is that shape? What does that evoke within me, and explore through tone and sound in a way that it doesn't need to sound like you're making a recording album, right? It can be simple exploration, and that's actually where I began as a child, was exploring sound and looking at, and I know not everyone sees shapes and sounds and things like that way, but I would see those things through colors or through the energy. I'd feel a certain way, and I would just further dive into, well, what is it I'm feeling, and how can I expand that? And that comes through your actual physical body, right? Because even though we're ascending, into these other realms and expanding, we're doing it through the physical body. So we have this temple and our tool also, where we can explore these shapes, these sounds, and beyond this universe, the geometry, the cosmos, and tune into what does that feel like for me? And the more we open to what that does feel like, or what those sounds evoke, we can even activate our own inner awareness, which is where our archives are, right? The DNA is the archives of our coding, and in that is that language. That's where the symbology is, and it'll be unique to each person. So the other question, as a parallel to what you're saying too, is, people will ask, well, my light language and somebody else's language sound different, but how come I can feel what they're saying? Or how come, there's this dialogue going on? It's because it's frequency that's exchanging through the harmonics and the waves. And as we're wanting to further, even as a beginner, right, wanting to explore that and open to that, we can see more as we allow that. Even though it's different, something might sound different, the language might be different, we can come to that commonality of the sensation. Like, what does that feel like? What is my heart feeling in those moments? What does it feel like that person is expressing? And I feel like every moment that we're doing that, allowing that space to open to a wider perception, we can actually continue to receive more of our own information, which we have complete access to at any moment. It's just how open are we to it without defining it a certain way with expectation. It needs to come a certain way, or by Friday, about 3 o'clock, or it has to sound a specific way, or it from traveling as well that there's different languages, but if you really feel into what somebody's saying that's speaking another language, you can actually sense what they're saying, right? So we don't always need to sign up for the language courses necessarily to really allow ourselves to feel what is that.
I really love the way you emphasized the human body and that we are ascending through these bodies. That, in my humble understanding, this is spot on. It just corresponds with so many other modalities. All of them are pointing to the same thing. As souls, some of us are really evolved. So it's not necessarily ascension. We've been there, we've done that, we've got the t shirt. Oh, by the way, I've got your t shirt also. It looks beautiful. And
Awesome.
so um, it's the richness of experience that we can sense and feel through these wonderful bodies. And so many of us may have interactions with non human intelligence, and they seem to have a really mild range of emotion. And humanity is able to feel this vast, turbulent ocean of sensation and emotion. Very same codes coming down, being presented to the human, they're completely different. And so this is something that we would have volunteered for. That's part of the reason we're down here on earth in these wonderful machines, these wonderful bodies, for this very experience. And the other thing is, when we manage to break through the distortion and the trauma and the incorrect beliefs and then connect to source, that evolves the entire soul. So it's really what we make of it. I find your description to be beautiful and accurate. So thank you so much for this.
You're welcome. Thank you.
So we were discussing perhaps combination of slightly different modalities. So I'm a great fan of mantra, and these do also create geometry. One of the languages that's really good for this is the Sanskrit language, ancient Hindu. It's very musical in terms of vocabulary, the number of words and definitions they have for spiritual concepts is way beyond any other language, so it's suitable. It does put you in a beautiful, relaxed, meditative state. And so perhaps combining the mantra in the Sanskrit language with the tones that you create, that'll be something incredibly potent, something to look into, perhaps as a course or maybe a little audio package that people can download and listen to. So, um, talking about patterns, vibration, or the visualization of it, one of them would be the chematic frequencies, where if you have a liquid or something that's fluid and you expose it to sound, we get all these wonderful geometric patterns. And I see in your background, this has your signature frequency. This is probably a representation of sound. Would I be correct in assuming this?
Yes, yeah, a lot of the art and geometries that I create are a visual representation of what the sound is, what the frequencies are, and what they're doing through the layers to the extent they can be expressed in the physical, which is why many of them, and each one is vastly uniquely different, but each one has layers and layers, and in the actual creation of it, and I'll just use this one as an example, is It's watercolor. So there's sound, song, and tone sung through the creation, which is going into the somatics of the water, into the canvas. So it's another additional layer of bringing that sound through the physical into something that we can, ocularly, if you want to say it that way, visualize and feel and sense as another amplifier and accelerator on our journey, which is actually what inspired me to create the very first book. Was the first book is filled with watercolor, all watercolor art and frequency word. So it's layers of the sound that's created, the frequency, the art, and also the geometry, but also the geometry and the harmonics of the word, because everything is, through sound as an amplifier. Again, even if it's a different language, there's specific tuned words, with certain syllables that have a harmonic, and layers. You were talking about the mantras. The mantras is rhythmic, it's repetition. And when I do sing my frequencies, say at a session or on, on the meditations, they are rhythmically repeating, or they're layered on top of each other, because that harmonic of a mantra, where it's has a repetition. It's doing certain things through the cellular system, through the organs, through the tissues, through collapsing, dissolving patterns, known or unknown, which is what's so amazing. You probably know about mantras, is that you can dissolve or reconfigure or harmonize without needing to know the why necessarily, needing, you bypass the mind, and you may have an association to what something is, but you don't need to know the storyline, right? You can reconfigure your entire moment through sound.
Yes. I really love what you said about bypassing the mind. And I call the mind very lovingly the monkey brain. So it's like a naughty monkey jumping from branch to branch, never settling down. And that does get in the way. And so, right here, you describe the fundamental requirements of a meditative state to allow the mind to calm down, for a clear surface, like on the surface of a lake. When we've got this calmness, inside we see the reflection of the clouds and the sun, or the moon and the stars. And if it's wavy, you see nothing. And a lot of forms of sabotage that affects humanity does exactly that, causing waves. So cyclical thought processes, or energies of agitation, old memories, especially traumatic ones, this is how they prevent us from um, understanding soul language. So one would be the heart, a healthy and empowered heart. So we have that access to the soul language, consciousness, and then a calm mind to let the stuff come through without distortion. So this is really, really amazing. Again, confirmation upon confirmation of all these old modalities. It seems our noble ancestors, no matter where and when they lived, they've arrived at the same conclusion. We've also done this independently. Very beautiful. Now, Sai, let's give our audience some goodies. Like, how do they start? Because I gotta say this. You activated toning within me, and it took you like 2.5 minutes flat. So it's very effective, very powerful, without a doubt. This is technology, and the monkey brain, you got to just relax it, because you can't understand, you can't fit the infinite into a cup. But if you want to guide our wonderful audience towards starting to use this, so it would be expression of their soul in a very powerful way. So you use it in healing, in manifestation, in restoring and balancing, removing all sorts of, let's say, inversion and corruption, upgrading. It's the whole thing in its own, subtle yet powerful. How would people begin? So, what would your recommendation be as a master who's using this correctly and powerfully?
Uh, well, my first suggestion is to And you brought up just a moment ago about the monkey mind or the mind when it's in thought process. There's actually significant parallel, you want to say, studies that have been recently released that say when, a few seconds even of humming, that the mind is not able to think thoughts. So it literally does the mind and the thoughts with the sound and the humming that will neutralize that out. So I invite people the way that I actually began even as an infant, as a being in this density. What I actually used to do very young was I would hum all the time because I would feel how my environment would change, and I would explore through humming. Again, not needing to make a record deal unless you really like to, but you can actually explore any moment that you're in, say in repetitive thoughts, or witnessing yourself, coming into maybe a fear moment or some kind of a trigger, whatever it is, or a grocery store, there's a lot of people. If you begin to hum, you will immediately sense your nervous system calm. It'll calm. You'll feel a rhythm, and you can sense, and again, an invitation to sense with your heart and your soul what sound that is in that moment that you need to begin to explore. Because we look at mantras, they're very simple. These aren't complex things we need to learn, or books, books and volumes we need to download and have libraries. We can literally simple tones. If we look at Om, or how a certain sound will allow us to expand or dissolve something, is massive, and we repeat that, or we deepen that, where we really deepen through the breath that and repeat it, we'll immediately sense a difference. Immediately. So an invitation to explore through intuition, which will hone somebody's further fine tune and refine and expand their own intuitive knowing, which everyone knows innately within them what is right for them. They can intuitively tune into what tone might they need in that moment. Say it's a, really elongated, is very something very simple that not only will shift your inner, resonance chamber, your pillar, your light ship, your vessel, it'll shift that nervous system, it'll calm the vagus, it'll calm the mind, it'll, perhaps delete, and harmonize, bring you back to center almost instantly. That the activation process of the soul language is very similar, actually, because those tones really undulate through your resonance, your field, and through your resonant chamber. So those will dissolve, collapse, reconfigure through the cellular system, the energy body, if there's lots of accumulated information, which is energy, right? So if you have a lot of things in your field, it'll literally, you'll feel it calm it. So
Yes.
begin there with what's so simple. It's so simple. It's like, well, we're looking all over these places to find all this information when we have it within us. If we begin with the simplicity of Om, even, I feel like a lot of people know that, or AUM, right? Om, all these
Hmm.
key codes or tones in repetition will do just that, but we'll also find that those tones can open, they can open, they can clear, they can dissolve and do all kinds of things. So the more we become our own frequency transformers of our own vessels, we're actually transforming the environment as well. So it's helping through all the layers, right?
Beautiful. And of course, sound is the primary domain of manifestation. So it's said that Source speaks, that I speak and therefore it is. And then we've got light underneath that in the second grade, and then we've got the dimensions and ultimately physicality. So it's a really, really potent and powerful origination point for any sort of manifestation. Um, People often are overloaded with many different things that afflict them. Could be trauma, could be stress, could be ancestral stuff, things from other domains of consciousness. And so achieving that state of cleanliness and liberty, that's putting them in a fantastic situation to then start listening to their own wisdom, the wisdom of their soul, the wisdom built into the body, divine wisdom. And so, and those that are interested in keeping their energy clean and healthy, this is one of the most intuitive. It's just built into us, right? And as you said wonderfully, Sai, you don't need to really learn or accumulate libraries of. It's just so natural and intuitive, a powerful tool that we have, and every culture seems to be using it. I was thinking, perhaps, if you're up for it, that we combine a tone and the Gayatri mantra. I think it's 29 syllables. Each one, I've seen charts of it. As you speak it, it moves around the body and it has a geometry affecting different parts of the body, going through all the main chakras. So how about we do 3 full rounds of the Gayatri mantra and a tone in the background, just to give our wonderful audience a little taster, right? Here's a little freebie, a sample, an echantillon, or whatever you like. You know, like you walk into a big supermarket and they give you a little tester of their perfume. Let's create one of these little testers. Yeah, only 3, not too much. If you want more, you got to come back. Yeah. Okay.
Sure.
Um, you go. I'll follow in.
Okay, let me change my sound settings here.
Amazing. And by the way, the Gayatri mantra is praising the elements that are created by Source and praising Source. So it's all nice. It's all good stuff.
Beautiful, beautiful. Okay. Yeah, it sounds lovely. I'm going to
Sorry
begin
for
then.
putting you on the spot, by
Oh
the
no.
way.
No, you didn't. That's okay. No, this will be wonderful. I'd love to. Love to. Thank you. Thank you.
Tatsavitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Tatsavitur Varenyam Margo Devasya Dimahi. Prachodaya. Oh, oh wow. I oh yes, that works beautifully. Oh my goodness. So oh my god. Thank you.
You're
Thank you, thank
welcome.
you, thank you.
Thank you.
And so it's raised my body core temperature. I'm feeling all energized. I want to do my famous cheesecake dance with it. So yeah, it, it works. It works. Oh my goodness. So yeah, there are lots of mantras. So this is nice, nice tone. So probably better recording equipment. Add a little echo to it, and we're good to go.
Right. Right. It's
Food
a
for
great
thought.
well, it's a great example too of how, I mean, we just sort of ad-libbed, if you will, two harmonics together, but really you can explore it a multitudes of ways and, whatever the moment is calling for, which invites
Beautiful.
people to do that for themselves also.
Yes, absolutely. A natural flow of the wisdom of one's soul. And so, what could go wrong?
Right. Right.
Famous last words.
Right.
Manifesting all sorts of stuff. Wow, wow, incredible, incredible. So now that we've got a little introduction into your uh, incredible modality of spiritual manifestation, because that will include healing and all sorts of goodies. Um, how do you see the current state of humanity? So over the let's say past few years, what we are in now, and perhaps where we're going. What's your understanding? What do you see?
Well, in this particular juncture we're in, and I'll just give a little, I guess you say, point of reference for when people tune into the video. It's about November 2025, linearly, of course, but these energies right now are very much transitional and transformational. So there's this simultaneous collapse, rebuild, restructure, old, incorrect structures are dissolving away while all of these of us are now coming together, co-creating and building with our different perspectives, our toolkits, our gifts and things. So this next juncture point of 25 to, in my perception, we could say linearly, but these next few years will be massive rebuilding, restructuring. But it's also helping to catalyze, with whatever events are happening on all the different multidimensional facets, because people will perceive or have whatever their reality will be what's occurring in their life, right? So if something is in misalignment, it'll be most likely coming apart right now to recalibrate them and reorientate them back to where they belong in what they actually say had promised to do here and haven't realized yet or are starting to realize. So there's a lot of catalyzing going on through different experiences, or people are moving, jobs are changing, relationships are changing, right? And location is also being recalibrated, not just because the earth is changing physically, the mudslides, the purification, the volcanoes, all the structural, the actual physical structure of the earth is changing, but so is Interstellarly, these different systems and planetary systems, the alignments are changing. So all these recalibrations on all these different layers are shifting to bring everything, everyone, everywhere into proper alignment. And however that may look, soul to soul, moment to moment, is really for their choice points to evolve, or dissolve, evolve and dissolve simultaneously. Do housekeeping, house decorating, vacuuming, changing the wallpaper, moving, reconfiguring, letting things go, people go, connections that don't serve, etc. So there's a multitude of change, like it's complete change, transformation, implementation. Very much what actually inspired that book is to bring right order into the physical finally, where it's right, it's overriding, it's overriding what doesn't function correctly, isn't in right order, isn't for the benefit of all, for all, is coming apart to make that space for what is true, what is divine, what is loving, what is righteous, what is pure. And so we're in that now. And what we do with those moments, each moment, how we choose to shift our thoughts, our patterns, our things, or let go without attachment, will help to continue to open the doorways and the pathways to see and to feel more of what actually is our purpose, because each of us have a very divine, unique purpose. And to find that sometimes takes letting much go, right?
Yes.
And getting that clarity and that stillness and those um, next moments to arrive. We need to get rid of some of the backpacks and things. So
Oh, yes, absolutely. So, if it were tarot, we would be pulling the tower card. Yes, all, yeah, now is the tower time, which is good. Anytime I get the tower, I get excited. People see the tower and go, "Oh no, oh my God, no, no more towers." And I say, "Oh yes, yes, it's tower time, bring it on." Because although it may be tough and it may actually kick your butt, when the dust settles, you look back and you say, "Oh my God, I really needed it."
right.
And I completely agree with you. Yeah, things are being catalyzed. So something that normally, quote unquote, would take you a lifetime, now it happens in a number of weeks, perhaps months, for you to see things clearly and do something about it towards improvement.
Yes.
If something isn't serving, it's got to go, opening up space for something that does serve you. Now this is spot on, and again, I completely agree with in your observation, your understanding that it is a cosmic type of alignment. So the planets are aligning, so to speak. All sorts of different conscious energies that support life to begin with, and then create this whole reality. And also other aspects that may be neutral, some of them that may be even harmful, or at least we would look at it that way from a human perspective. These are changing in a way for us to see. Nothing is more powerful than insight. So, although it may be a little bit chaotic, lots of stuff is falling and crashing and burning, but that's a good thing. These things need to go to begin with. So I say, you know what? Good riddance. Good. Let them open up space for more light and divine energy in our life. So yes, I totally agree. I think we're in that transition phase, and what's coming is the new golden age. Um, a lot of people say, "Well, when is it coming? Are we there yet?" And well, this is a personal journey. Um, Many of us are there, and many of us are still doing some cleaning, as you say, the vacuum cleaning, changing the wallpaper, yeah, moving and shifting stuff around. But the beautiful thing is now we're at a point where we have a fair chance. At certain periods in our history, things are stacked up against us. No matter how hard you try, there seems to be something holding you down. That is no longer the case. So, for our wonderful audience listening to this, if you're feeling these powerful shifts, it's a good thing. Thank the stars and the cosmos and the beloved divine because you are favored. If you're going around your daily life and nothing's happening, you better start thinking, why is nothing happening with all these shifts and this catalyzing energy towards evolution? I don't think any of us are going to be watching us two here, doing tones and talking about spirituality. So our audience are going to be pretty much tapped in. So hold on to your seats because it's going to get more interesting, I think.
Yeah, well, I think it's interesting as you were saying that lightning just struck, so that's why I started smiling. I was right on time. But those catalyzing things that are happening, I want to make this, I guess, poignant, if you will, is that the things that are happening in any moment are to not focus on the what, but on the why, and it's always to redirect or recalibrate or open a widened perception to something perhaps we could do differently or think differently or let go of. So through these massive junctures, which will be so because there's layers and layers of excavation, recalibration, building, etc., that are going on. And the more that we're learning how to refocus and re-perceive differently, if you want to say re-perceive, if that makes sense, but perceive in a widened gaze of not the what it is that's in that moment, but why it is, and how through that why you can come to discover there's something bigger, something grander, and way more in alignment that is basically standing, if you will, in that energy, awaiting you as soon as you dissolve, say, an old perception or or whatever that it is that is coming apart.
Beautifully said. I couldn't say it better myself. Wonderful. Absolutely. It's giving you a clue. So I see this whole Earth incarnation as very powerful souls playing a game of dum dum down here, rolling around in the dirt, yeah, with our arms and legs tied and forgetting our gifts. And now we've got the conditions kind of just tapping us on the shoulder. Hey, buddy, yeah, it's time. Enough dum dum. It's time to awaken, to resume your true station, your true place in the cosmos. There's value to this whole dum dum game. Well, we don't remember. We're down here. We don't have access to our gifts. We're bombarded left, right, and center. We get traumatized. We get betrayed. We get murdered. We starve. We burn. We drown. And yet, if we have the wisdom to forgive, if we have the capacity to heal and move beyond it and connect to source in a true and powerful way, that's a badge of honor for the soul. It does evolve us. So, this wisdom that can be gained down here on earth is really unique, very beautiful. And I've come across souls in human form, in human bodies incarnated, where they are multi universal. I'm not pointing at anybody in particular, but yes, I'm not pointing at anybody. But that
Oh,
is
hi.
something. Okay, so that is something that, for example, would benefit the infinite soul that has experienced different levels of challenge and acquired mastery in a rightful way, but that experience of trauma is missing. Similar to the codes and the tones and light language and different forms of expression, this is yet another color in the whole spectrum of colors. And so having that is better than not having it. And so that's the attraction of Earth for many souls. And it's all beautiful at the end of the day, although when we're in human form and we're going through it, we complain and moan about it, and we're not very happy. Say, what the actual hell is going on? Well, what's going on is that we're getting stronger and wiser, more complete, and we become more capable expressions of source energy. like that whole beautiful thing that you've created behind you in the background. That's an expression of soul and source energy. So it's all good at the end of the day. You know, it's kind of funny when you talk to so many of these grand masters. They're sitting down and they're super chill and they've got this smile on their face and nothing happy is going on. They're still happy. And the final message is it's all good. It's all the way it should be. And that is the truth. You know, we sometimes stress ourselves out and the monkey brain tortures itself. But no, it's all the way it's meant to be. We're down here. We chose to be down here. And we're better for it. So all in all, it's pretty amazing, I think. So, um, Sai, you take clients for healing sessions and consultations?
Yes, I do. I
Oh,
do. Oh, go ahead.
I just wanted to give you just an opportunity to speak a little bit about your modality and how you work, and if people resonate for them to seek you out, to get in touch.
Thank
Just
you.
speak a little bit about your practice and your approach.
Sure. Well, as far as if and as it's a one-on-one session, it could be a one-on-one session or a group. In person or remote are two of the options. And if for example it was a one-on-one remotely, it would be very similar to how we're meeting right now. It'd be on Zoom, where there's video, there's sound. Somebody is experiencing specifically a session for their multidimensional soul, their mission, through the energies, the sounds, the tones, the codes, the waves, whatever their soul is ready to receive. Their willingness to allow will be exactly what they need in that moment. And those sessions are generally about an hour and filled with sound, tone, code, language. That is completely unique to them. And, there's integration through all of the layers of shifting, dissolving, reconfiguration. There's cellular, there's energetic, it's physical, sometimes ancestral through patterns, waves of all the layers that happen all at once. So it's not always known what exactly precisely is happening by the recipient, right? It's shifting, it's configuring, reconfiguring, dissolving all at once through the sound and the frequency, which is the beautiful part because it bypasses the mind needing to know the why. And sometimes they may, right? They may have a knowingness of what that shift they're sensing, or if they're feeling an energetic release, what it's correlated to, perhaps, or feel lightness, energy movement, geometries. And many times what it's also doing is activating a significant layers of dormancies that could be held or layered and embedded through the lifetimes, right? Through activating their soul language, activating the DNA, activating different aspects, remembrances from other lifetimes that need to be reintegrated together, say fragments from different places. And a lot of these things that are happening with those moments, calibrating the wisdom from other lifetimes through the disillusion, that's unifying and harmonizing all at once. So there's not, a knowingness necessarily of what just got brought back
Yeah.
home through the unification. So it's really powerful when those sessions do happen, and are received and integrated, because over time, as you know, I know you work in differently, but through energy working and frequency working, that over time and the willingness to continue to evolve, those activated codes and dormancies, or the innate inner wisdom that's being integrated, is continuing to be built upon for their
Yeah.
next moment, their next juncture. So and that's speaking on an individual, one-on-one session. which they'll experience very similarly, of course, and just as powerfully remotely as in person. Or the group sessions are usually intentioned with a certain energy, or will have a theme, but people will still receive what they're ready to receive. So even if it has, a specific theme and a subject matter, it still will be multi-dimensionally implemented for their next now. So that, I mean, that's a basic general, but it really depends on, of course, the person where they're at in their journey. But it's all geared towards soul expansion, soul mission, integration, development, and ultimately doing that which one promised and knows they came to do.
Beautiful. Well, I can personally vouch for this Grand Master. Through a few minutes of interaction, suddenly I started remembering toning, in Mongolian shaman style, very deep reverberations of the vocal cords, and it's powerful. Well, it was in me all along. I needed somebody to go boop, yeah, open the whole thing up, and it seems to be continuing to develop. Some of these things are mind-boggling. You got to be there and go through it, and then you say, "Oh my God, this whole thing is real." And so here is one of those practitioners. I will vouch for their mastery and integrity. Anybody hearing, reach out. I'm not pointing to anybody in particular, but please do. Yes, do. So, um, Sai, if you want to give us any final words or anything that you think is appropriate and relevant for myself and our esteemed audience, and also how people can find you, and maybe some of the projects that you've got going. So I would like to give you the platform, or just let you speak. Uh, please go ahead.
Sure, thank you. Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me on. I appreciate you and the work that you're doing. And I'm well, currently I'll begin with what I'm currently working on because it actually parallels and flows into what we just discussed, actually, where it's a course that is for activating soul language. And why that's so important is that we all have everything we need right within us. And that's also part of the message, closing message, is that we sometimes feel or think or are confused by these layers that we need to go out and get all these things, and accumulate or take this, that, and the other thing. But we have all of the codes, we have all of our archives within us. And as we dissolve that which is not us, or we've accumulated, whether we know what it is or not, as we simultaneously allow those not us stuffs fall away, we can implement and activate what we already have because we have those ancient libraries right where we are right here. We don't need to go to Tibet on a mountain, even though it would be fun, right? We could go on all these trips and go to these places, but we don't need to go out to look for these things that are right within us. If we allow ourselves to let go of this other stuff or reconfigure, not fear the reconfiguration, allow the disillusion, detach, completely detach from expectation, when anything needs to arrive by, how it needs to come, what color pants it needs to be wearing when it arrives, and all these things, right? It's like all these expectations. If we have clear intentions that are heart-centered, heart-centered intentions to open the field to what is right for me, what is my next now, open that pure intention to receive that which is meant for you, that you've already declared before arriving to Earth, and then allow that simultaneous rise fall of your own soul to rise into your own innate knowingness, which is pure brilliance and ancient awareness, through these activation processes of your own DNA. It's all right there. So I invite everyone to embrace whatever that moment feels like, looks like, especially if they don't know. I think that's the most powerful point is that unknown because that's where you're present, right? So if you're saying, well, I don't know what 5 minutes from now looks like, or everything fell apart, what do I do now? Or where do I go? Or what is this thing? How do I make sense of all of this? That's that most powerful, pure, like diamond right there to shine and allow to find what you already have, and embody what you already are and have always been. So I invite, I personally have experienced multi layers of my life of recalibration and allowing that because that's where the magic happens is when you let go into that moment. But so that's one of the projects is to assist people in activating their soul language, which simultaneously activates what some people reference as telepathy, but really it's our innate communication that really opens us up to, we want to connect to our star family, galactic families, other realms, our own multidimensional awareness is literally how we're tuned and tuning into any octave at any given moment. And as we learn how to, activate our languages and our telepathy, we can do that and help others do the same, which is ultimately also why we came. So if somebody were interested in that or say a one-on-one session, I do those in person in Arizona is where I'm located right now. So people are always welcome to the space here if they like to travel, or we can do it remotely. And all the details of the course, the session scheduling, there's tools, there's the books, meditations people can download. I have a huge library. People can download MP3s that are frequency downloads. You can get all of that through the website, as well as the YouTube channel, which has many, many meditations. And you'll find that on innergalacticenergyhealing.com, which is INNER, because inner is where we find everything. I know, like we say intergalactic, but it's actually inner, inner within us galactic. So,
Yeah, yeah. Welcome back. Where did you go all this time? We all missed you. Well, we got your domain name, intergalacticenergyhealing.com, and then from that the internet went a little wonky. So just continue kindly.
oh, sure. I was just turning the light on. There was a big flash of lightning as I said inner and where to find everything was within. I thought that was again timely. So I was kind of laughing about that. But essentially I was saying that you can find everything on one main website, intergalacticenergyhealing.com, and then the lightning confirmed that for everyone. So yeah. It's
Well,
great.
that's good. When nature gives you confirmations, you're onto something, I think.
Yes.
And so Thor says hello to you, throwing down lightning bolts, vanquishing whoever doesn't see your awesomeness. And so that's good. Nature is confirming. Very good.
Beautiful.
Uh,
Yeah.
so, my wonderful, dear, esteemed friend, it's been an honor and a pleasure. We've covered about an hour. I would love to have more conversations with you, given that time allows and that you're available and willing. I would most certainly love to. And so there's many beautiful co-creations that are waiting to come into manifestation. We gave our audience a little taster, the little tester spray that you get in these fancy schmancy stores. So that's all done. Thank you so much. I'm honored by your presence. Thank you very much for being here, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for your valuable time and your wonderful presence. We love you very much.
Thank
Keep tuned.
you.
And if you're watching on my channel, please do subscribe to Sai's channel. And if you're seeing me on Sai's channel, do subscribe to my channel, Wizard of Wivenhoe. Thank you very much, everybody. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful day.
Beautiful. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Amir.